Europe. But then MaNa kind of had a weird challenger because where Clem said, all right, that's never happening again to me, and he qualified through challenger through the ladder. MaNa's actually the one who missed out on challenger, so it's been an all 2019 so far.
Has been some upsets, but let's get into it, guys. In the bottom left here, our first player, the French Terran. It is Clem. One of the youngest players here in the bracket, and in the top right, Polish phenom from Team Liquid, it is MaNa.
Saw MaNa on his way to the States. I was like, and how do we feel? He's like, I was like, come on, what are the win records? He's like, used to be very good, now very not good. I was like, okay, how bad are we talking? But yeah, it's fun, right? I honestly look forward to seeing these two guys a lot this weekend. There's no way that this is the only time we see them play here on the stream. Of course, there is this knockout bracket as well, so even if for one of the two they would get eliminated here, I think you look at the three guys that could very well likely to be eliminated here, with no disrespect to Holy Hit, but that would be an absolute miracle.
It would be pretty amazing.
Yes, if he takes top 2 in this group, oh my goodness, that'd be one of the silliest things I've seen and craziest in a very long time. But I think even if MaNa or Clem or maybe Reynor goes to that knockout bracket, I'm full of confidence that they can actually go all the way through that knockout bracket and still make it into the top 24 of this tournament. That's how good I think these guys are.
MaNa coming in for his first scout here with the probe, making sure that Clem is being honest with him here. Giving that barracks at home, not hiding it on the map or anything like that, so not forcing out that first Zealot. And it is a very standard opening for both players to start things off with. Clem even sending out the SCV along with his Reaper Expand to be as safe as possible. Like, super safe opening here from both players.
Well, I mean, dropping the command center on the low ground, you could say that some Terran players are like, I'm kind of afraid of that first adept being chrono boost to the other side of the map. It's a scenario we see very often. Before we dive too deep into these build orders, of course, I would say it's worth mentioning going over their first games of the day. They were played off-stream. MaNa won his group pretty convincingly. He was in a group with 3 Ukrainians. His upper bracket match.
And
Ghost,
yeah.
Yep, our friend. And then another one that I was not that familiar with. He looked good. Clem took 2nd place in his group. He actually ended up losing 1-2 against Hellraiser, who I think is perhaps the Ukrainian hope for this tournament. Of course, Bly is always there. Cass has been to Korea, so I look forward to those guys. But yeah, Clem already facing 1 defeat so far today against Protoss. And I think we all know that Clem lately has not been the biggest fan of this matchup. But let's see if he can turn things around here against MaNa. That Reaper is going to go down.
Dove a little deep there, got a little greedy, does get a probe kill, but losing that Reaper does sting a little bit. Did he actually see that Twilight? He would have seen that Twilight on the way out.
I don't think he saw anything.
I don't think so, yeah.
No.
Missed that, bad. So yeah, that kind of sucks for Clem. This is part of the reason why you want to keep that Reaper alive, is to check in later. Like, keep it alive. Don't worry about the probes. Go down to the the bottom of the natural mineral line. And this adept coming in towards here. Natural's finally done, but the main ramp is open here for this adept. Clem, all right, closes it just in time.
At least he spots a Hellions. Like, a lot of people will think that this is not very significant, but this is actually very nice for MaNa, because now he knows there are 2 Hellions. He knows that he's going to have to be at least producing a couple of gateway units early on. He's going up to 3 Adepts, by the way, while teching up to Blink. That's not something I see super often. Now, obviously, Adepts do have very good damage against Hellions. It's even going to be a 4 Hellion opener. Did he shade into the main base? I think he did. No, he shaded home. Okay, never mind. Cloak Banshee, by the way, is the follow-up. The Robo's a little bit late, but I think that's going to go all right. Now it will all come down to how crazy is Clem going to be with his Hellions. There is no shield battery in the natural as far as I can tell. Nope, no battery over there. I mean, this is a little bit risky, right? If the focus fire with the Adepts is good, he's going to be fine, but this can also become a little bit painful because Adepts are not as fast as Hellions are.
Yeah, they are spreading and covering the ramp, and yeah, they're going to do damage, but they're not going to get all these Hellions in time. That's for damn sure, and the Hellions are going to start getting probe kills here. Just the 1 so far. There's a few right there. Oh, man, this is not looking that amazing for MaNa at the moment.
I'm actually kind of shocked that he didn't build a battery.
That's a lot.
He's got a lot of Stalkers in the main as well, but that's 7 probes going down. The work account's very even across the board now, and that's not a situation you ever want to be in. Now, MaNa is a very aggressive Protoss. There's a good chance that MaNa's like, all right, you threw 4 Hellions at my side, that means you have very little at home. That's often correct, but there is a Banshee going towards his main as well. He's got no shield battery in the main base either. So this Banshee is really going to hurt, but can Clem stabilize at home? That's the big question now.
He's making siege tanks back at home, which is certainly going to help out a bit, and maybe even defensive Banshee is going to be nice here, as there is no Observer. So if he has a defensive Banshee with Cloak, it could certainly help. The siege tank, massive here. I feel like it's not in the best spot, but this map seems a little bit weird. Okay, here we go. Big blink forward there from MaNa to pick off the tank, and he is going to get it. How much is he going to lose in the meanwhile, though? These Marines and the SCV pool putting out a lot of damage.
Well, the Banshee is obviously about to hit in the main base as well. This is the Banshee you mentioned. No observer on this side of the map, guys. So yes, those Stalkers are going to be annoying, but the Banshee on the other side of the map is just as annoying. This may look good for MaNa, but I actually think that this is quite all right for Clem.
Banshee's about to run out of energy here, and she'll be gunned down by these Stalkers. The Observer arrives anyway. Another tank pick off there. If he can get it, just gets that tank.
That's massive. I did not expect that tank to go down. Now I think Clem is in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Because these Stalkers are going to stay around for a very, very long time. Even if Clem has more workers than MaNa at this point, losing that second tank was massive. Clem should have repaired that one.
Absolutely, and there's the desperation SCV pool in the main base, even coming in for the natural from Clem. These Stalkers are a little low in hit points, but they still have shields to work with. He blinks into the main further, like MaNa knows he's got this in the bag if he just keeps his damage up. With that Observer, can still gun down this Banshee as well. There it goes. And another tank? Don't mind if I do. He's out of there.
Okay,
that's insane.
2 Stalkers remain at this point, and that might finally be it. There is still a Banshee on the other side of the map. MaNa not getting a single battery really made his life so much harder, and he lost a few more probes than I think he had to. I mean, worker count is Tim. Let's take a look. How's the upgrade now? He has no upgrades for the bio at all. If Clem would have had a single bunker anywhere, I would also say yes, his life would have been a lot easier. So MaNa's not done yet, but the Stalker count is quite low now. Does he want to make another crazy forward blink to dive on the next tank? Knowing MaNa, I don't say it's impossible.
There it is. He's going for it. Clem keeps this one safe for now, though. The Banshee and the Marines doing a good job of shepherding the starport, lifting up to give him a little bit more space. The Marines coming back into that main base. Yeah, the Stalker just sort of walking in as well there on the low ground, taking a tank hit there. Joining up with these brothers.
The most MaNa-like game of all time. 0 defense at home, loses a ton of probes, but at the same time just keeps on attacking. That's why stylistically I thought this was fun.
Ooh.
Forward blink snipes that tank as well. And Clem still not having a bunker in the natural is making this so freaking painful for him.
More and more SCVs going down here. I'd love to see the SCV kill count. I think it's going to be pretty gross for Terra players out there. NSFT. And that's going to be game 1 for MaNa. Just picking apart Clem pieces at a time all the way through game 1 with those Blink Stalkers.
A single bunker, and I think that game looks completely different. I also think that Clem maybe should have been a little bit more careful with the second tank. That he lost the first tank against this crazy blink and be like, oh, okay, that could happen. And it was a trade, right? There was a lot of damage immediately on the Stalkers. But the follow-up tank went down a little bit too quickly. And Clem just never had a bunker. So those Marines, without Stim, yeah, eventually they will always get kited by those Marines. This was a typical MaNa game. He loses 21 probes on his side of the map, but he doesn't care. He just keeps on attacking. And Clem perhaps not respecting the potential of those Stalkers enough.
Well, you know what? StarCraft's all about trading, right? And if you're trading workers for even more damage on the other side of the map, then it's all good. It's not clean, but he got the job done. MaNa currently up 1-0 in the series. And we are just all best of 3s today, guys. We're doing all the group stages. I think the part of the knockout bracket as well. Group stages 2 and 3 will be here. So it's going to be a long day. Plenty of StarCraft for all you guys out there in Twitch land.
It's going to be a lot of games back and forth. The funny thing is that maybe it didn't seem that MaNa was all in, and I kind of hate to use the term all in that quickly, right? But that was a very, very committed move by MaNa because he's losing so much at home, and there was no Robo Bay going up. Obviously, no Templar Archives. He definitely didn't have money for that, but not even Charge or not even a Forge, right? So calling it an all-in by MaNa is maybe a bit over the top, but MaNa was basically putting himself in a position where, okay, I better do a lot of damage. Yeah, exactly, right? But I mean, MaNa is, in general, he does have very, very good killer instinct, and I think he showed us a little bit of that.
And that killer instinct gave him a grand final spot in 2018 as well. And it's not like he rolled over in that grand final either. He put up a massive fight against the, our God Emperor of 2018, Cyril, who was waiting for his chance to play, of course, in Group Stage 3 for his upcoming victims.
He just walked into the building. I still get shivers when I see him.
Jonas Satala walks into the building, everyone just gets quiet. But everyone stops playing their games, they pause.
It's actually really crazy, guys. But the moment that Cyril walked into this building, I saw everybody just got promoted. Like, I saw promotion screens left, right, and center.
Yeah,
all the PCs around me. It's like an aura, man. It's actually crazy.
Roddy was asking how my handshake with Cyril was yesterday. My MMR went up to 500 to 600 just from that one handshake. So
you lose it if you shower, man. That's
yeah, no, I can't wash this hand ever. Otherwise I lose that MMR for sure.
All right, let's see if Clem has been taking some notes. Game 2 is going to be starting real soon. It's going to be played on Kairos Junction, a slightly smaller map. Also a map where I would say that if Clem drops that CC on the low ground, he has to be a little bit careful, because this is a map I feel like you almost all the time see the Adept shade to the other side of the map and try to be as annoying as possible. I think that's the kind of game, though, for Clem. Yes, it's early in the tournament, and of course he's got at least 2 more series, or at least 1 more series in this group if he would lose this one. But it just stinks. You have your Hellions, you kill 7 workers, and then you've got a Cloak Banshee opening against a guy whose Observer is very late, and you still end up losing. those games really sting for Terran players.
Yeah, hopefully he can. I know Clem does sometimes tilt a little bit, so hopefully he can reset his brain a little and get himself a bit of a clean slate for game number 2. He is an on-stage veteran at this point. I wouldn't even say that he's like, yeah, relative to MaNa, of course, he is. Everyone relative to MaNa is quite new to the scene, but he, you know, hopefully his mindset is still clear and ready because he does have a bit of work ahead of him. This player in the bottom right is, of course, Fiddy Gaming Clem, the Red Terran. And in the top left, Team Liquid's own MaNa. Such a cheerful guy. I love seeing him. Always gives you a nice big bro hug when he sees you. It's just you can always tell that MaNa just loves playing these tournaments. Yeah,
he loves being here. He's very chatty as well, right? Earlier he walked in and he walked into the Castic Green room and he's like, wow, I can see you guys are working very hard over here. As like, Todd is like kind of leaning back and has his eyes closed, and everybody else, they were watching a bit of KSO and stuff like that on the other monitor. MaNa's like, I see how it is, guys. And we're like, what? You know, the show hasn't started yet. He's like, well, go downstairs, watch the games over the shoulders. Like, all right, MaNa, I'm on my way. You know, like,
go to the player pool and talk to the players then. What are you doing? Taking a break, having a burger, and just drinking water.
It was funny. Curious to see if MaNa is going to be just as aggressive as he was in the previous game. I do feel that's sometimes the downfall of MaNa, right? He is such a reckless player. MaNa and DNS, I feel like, are kind of the two Protosses in Europe that just attack almost all the time. And a lot of these Terrans, they know what they're dealing with. They know they're going up against a very aggressive Protoss, but it's still, apparently, the execution is so good that it's so freaking hard to deal with.
Oh, I'm starting to feel that atmosphere. The music has begun. Oh, and a pause. Ruining my vibe.
He's asking about it, though. He's like, is this okay?
The lights. Well, we have a new stage, guys. New production, of course, Star Ladder. So far, they've been doing a great job. I really love the professional guys. Alex is wonderful. I've never met him before. Alex 007. Yeah, no, never met him before. Not until yesterday. It was my first time.
Legend.
He is a legend. He's awesome. Lovely, lovely guy. An announcer pack in the game as well. Well deserved.
I listened to it.
Still waiting for the Roddy one, but
I don't understand a word. The other day I lost 22 probes because I didn't know Alex was telling me I was under attack. I was like, man, I really got to work on that Ukrainian.
I'm glad he says supply block in English, though, because otherwise I wouldn't know what he's talking about.
No, Alex is great. And yeah, it seems like so far the players, guys, have been very happy here, actually. I'm always happy to see that. But they all seem to be very okay with their setup. They like their tables. They're feeling comfortable.
That's right.
Obviously, MaNa having a small issue right now with some of the lights because the stage does look fancy. There's a lot of light shining around, and perhaps one of them.
Certainly. We've got a nice big bright light in front of us as well.
It's really fun. Actually, talking about a little bit about the other player in this group, Raynor. Showed up yesterday, saw him in the restaurant, and he's wearing some really fancy sweater. Now, I don't know what it was, okay, but it looked like some really fancy Louis Vuitton kind of sweater. I'm like, geez, Raynor, you're splashing that WCS winter money around? And he looks at me, he's like, of course, you got to live a little. I was
That's
like,
right, yeah. What are you gonna save it for? What a waste! What a waste of time.
I was like, looking great, mate. It's really fun. All right, guys, we are ready to continue.
That's right.
Let's see what is going to happen. Hey, that's a cybernetic score before a warp gate. Or excuse me, before a Nexus.
Yeah.
So, Clem, if you do want to drop your command center in the low ground, please get a bunker as quickly as possible. Otherwise, this is going to be really painful.
Second probe moved out a little bit there before dropping the natural pylon as well. So once again, Clem going for the low ground CC without a scout. So just
Marine before Reaper, by the way.
Yeah, it's maybe he wants to get a bunker quickly. It's a little weird.
If Clem doesn't get a bunker, by the way, on the low ground, Clem is going to be in so much trouble.
Yeah.
And I do want to be a little bit critical. You're playing as a MaNa. You know he's one of the most aggressive Protosses in Europe. You know that he attacks a lot. That previous game just happened. It was typical MaNa, wild, reckless, and he gets the job done. You're playing on a relatively small map where you know Protoss players love going cybernetic scope before Nexus.
Amen.
He's digging his grave here, Maynard.
I remember our series from the Casters Invitational, Roddy, and I've never expanded on the low ground without a bunker ever since then. So
this is going to be painful. I mean, he's going to get a couple of Marines out, of course, with the reactor, because he did skip the Reaper, right? So you could say at least the Marine count is going to be a little bit higher. But I think especially when that second Adept shows up, things could get a little bit painful here.
Yeah, it does get a little rough. Even just one gateway's worth of production can really put the pressure on as a Terran in the early stages without a bunker. He is getting Marines. Yes, Marines are pretty nice against Adepts. They're certainly a lot better against Adepts than Reapers are. This, he actually might be able to stop this, and he does. Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah. Because the probe got a single hit off. Only took 2 shots, but there is another Adept going out. I'm not too worried about this command center finishing up, but I am a little bit more worried about the next minute in this game. But I guess you can just say he might be okay with not mining off the low ground. With 5 Marines, though, this actually looks quite decent for Clem. Maybe skipping the Reaper and then kind of calculating that this was going to happen. He's showing us, like, no, I don't need a bunker. If I skip the Reaper, my Marine count is high enough.
Yeah, not right now. I mean, and it looks like MaNa, once again, Blink opening, three gateways going in a Robo as well, so same opening as last game. He's going to start putting on the pressure shortly, or at least try and put pressure on the natural, but Clem's going to have the siege tank up and ready by the time any Stalkers hit this side of the map.
So I think Clem's build works out very well against the quick adepts, even though he's going to have to probably micro here a little bit and maybe end up losing a Marine or two. If these were Stalkers, by the way, Stalkers have bigger range and are slightly faster as well when the adepts are not shading. So against Stalkers, Clem would have been in a world of trouble, and he would have been definitely losing Marines after Marine, and he wouldn't be able to mine off the low ground. But this actually worked out all right. Clem just having a good read on what he thinks MaNa's going to do. Felt risky, but it turned out not to be risky at all. So very well done by Clem. Wow, he's already pushing out.
This is so early.
Yep.
Normal. I mean, Terran's pushing early without any Marine upgrades is not surprising, but this fast with one tank?
And it's actually really good because MaNa brought all of his adepts home. MaNa's going to spot his army right here, right now. He's building an observer. I would say he most likely needs an immortal as quickly as possible.
I agree with you, man. Blink not even done yet. No shield batteries. He starts one in the natural, and Clem's coming forward here. Definitely wants to try and get some bunkers, and he can even repair the tank and the Viking. The Viking is actually surprisingly good against Stalkers as well when landed, and there it goes. Turns and fights that tank, taking a little bit of damage there for the laser beams of the Stalkers. The Marines really buffering nicely for these adepts as well, but the tank does get picked off. However, Clem is not done yet. That bunker is nearly done, and these Stalkers getting very, very low.
And a Neil tank shows up as well, MaNa. This pylon could potentially unpower those two gates, by the way. That would be a very bad pylon to lose.
Pro pool. Probe's getting in the mincer there of those Marines, taking them apart. Another Viking even coming in. MaNa's in so much trouble. This bunker's going to finish as well. And that's devastating for MaNa.
I think MaNa is pretty much done here. Yes, he has been able to shut down the tanks once again, but he's already lost 12 probes. This time MaNa not being the aggressor. Clem it is, with his very quick
shield
move
battery depowered.
I mean, he's going to get a few more probes here. All of these probes are so exposed, and that bunker is going to finish up as well. And even if MaNa does survive here, look at the army supply. Yeah. It's 7. All he has is a couple of Blink Stalkers, and another tank is about to show up.
This base belongs to Clem now. MaNa's just going to have to let it go. There's no way he's going to be able to break this position with the amount of production he has. No Immortals, no Warp Prison, no nothing like that. No shield batteries that are powered to stand and fight. He actually just has to bide his time. Looks like he wants to blink and maybe flank the tanks, maybe pick off some reinforcements or something like that, but that's so hard. This tank is covering, and the bunkers are so hard for him to commit to. He's going to try it.
He's going to try to get the tank, and he will get the tank, but at the cost of at least 2 Stalkers, 3 Stalkers it is in the end. That next is going to take quite a bit of damage. I'd love to see Clem go for a couple of those exposed probes. Those probes are so exposed, there's absolutely nothing keeping them safe. And I think those would be some easy pickups, and that is exactly what Clem is thinking as well. Well, he's going for the Stalker first. He gets it. Now he's going to get a few more of these workers, and MaNa's in a world of trouble. He knows it.
GG. Clem gets a score on the board. Tied up 1 series, and we got ourselves a 3rd game here in this best of 3. Happy days.
Kind of cool that he skipped the Reaper and got the Marine count up very quickly. Obviously, like I said, works out against the depths. I think against Stalkers, this would have worked out a lot less good. But then a bit unfortunate for MaNa that he shaded all 3 adepts at home. I don't know what he was worried about, maybe 2 Hellions squeezing around the map and showing up in his natural. But because MaNa walked home, Clem just followed him, and Clem is like, this is perfect, because now the first time that MaNa actually saw that army moving out, it was already at the bottom of his ramp, and at that point it was too late to get an Immortal, too late to really get in a good position, and the first tank sieged up very, very closely, and that made it an almost impossible hold for MaNa.
Yeah, it's actually, you know, the earliest move out I've seen from a Terran with an SCV, like a couple SCVs that I've ever seen. And boy, was it effective. I can see that working a lot for a lot of you guys out there that have trouble in TVP. I mean, all you Terrans out there in Twitch chat that are like, I just never win against Protoss.
Yeah, it's, like I said, a very good move out, but it worked out perfectly because MaNa didn't see it, right? Like, MaNa had all of his units back on his side of the map. If MaNa would have left even just 1 adept outside of the natural of Clem and throw in a couple shades just to see what Clem is doing, if he sees that army coming out, he could immediately Chrono Boost out an Immortal. He could immediately get a forward shield battery as well. That would help out with the first fight, because now the battery only kicked in at the 2nd fight, but at that point, MaNa already lost a couple of his Stalkers.
Yeah, it was out of juice and depowered anyway. Getting rid of that low ground pylon, helping a ton for Clem. Not having any pylon to reinforce with, no static defense, like, it's just a little bit tough. Shield batteries are static defense, right? I always think of them as static defense.
Yeah.
They don't shoot back like everything else does, but
definitely qualifies as static defense to me.
Thank you.
I mean,
I feel validated.
Unless we could walk with them, that'd be really cool. Imagine if you could put shield batteries in a Warp Prism.
There's a lot of new fans in StarCraft 2 out there. I'm sure a lot of you guys are watching right now. A lot of them didn't realize, but back in the day, Blizzard was toying with the idea of making photon cannons walk. That was almost in the game, guys. In
co-op, you can. I think one of the commanders can actually move his cannons around.
I know that there's a cannon rush commander. I think it's Karax is the one that you just make cannons and shield batteries with.
I've had too much ladder and not enough co-op to really be qualified to talk about this. But
And
I
direct strike. We're direct strike professionals as well as 1v1 professionals.
That is true.
Yeah.
Hey man, I know the outcome of all of these fights if they don't micro. Okay? All right, guys. Port Alexander is going to be the decider here of this first series of the second group stage. The opening match.
Boats. Let's do it. The top left. Winning game number 2, it is Clem. 17 now, right, I think?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Starting to level up. In the bottom right here, this is Team Liquid's MaNa.
He's still at that age where you feel really good about leveling up. You know, we've reached the age where it's like, oh god.
I've actually, there's an age where you feel happy about getting older. Then there's an age where you just like, I'm not too happy anymore. And then there's my age where I'm actually like, I get it wrong. Like, people are like, how old are you? And I say the wrong number. Like, I actually stop keeping track. I don't care.
That has not happened to me. I actually meet people to say that. It's like, actually, I don't keep track of my age.
Yeah,
like, that doesn't exist.
Like, my birthdays will actually roll around and I'll not really care. Actually, that's not true. I put on my Twitch stream every time.
Yeah, no, I still care. It's like the little boy's feeling. It's like tomorrow's kind of a special day. Yeah.
Not me. Not really. No, I don't feel that.
Not necessarily because I'm happy I'm getting older, but it will always, because it's kind of like your day in the year, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it always ends up being wonderful. My in-laws always make me feel special.
All right, what are we going to see over here? We haven't seen a Stargate opening yet from MaNa, and I do think that is kind of predicted. MaNa in general, like I said, he's very aggressive. He loves his War Prism openings to just be annoying with a couple of Stalkers, and also loves his Blink openings. I personally think the build that MaNa went for on K-Rolls is kind of better on this map, just because there is a little more room to work around with those Blink Stalkers. You can kite back a little bit further if a quick push does happen, and even just taking off 3-4 Marines of certain pushes really makes the push only very holdable.
And he goes Nexus Core this time, so slightly different than the last game, but just ever so slightly. Clem, of course, once again with that low ground command center. This time a Reaper expand, though, so not going for that fast bowl of Marines in the early stages of the game, parked in front of his natural. Is going to get a bit more scouting information. Last game was very blind from Clem, but it worked out in the end.
Yeah, just had a soul read, right? He just knew exactly. He's like, okay, he's most likely going to open up with 2 or even 3 adapts, and my Marine count is going to be all right to deal with that. And then he just pushed that almost immediately, minus supply block there for MaNa, but obviously not a big deal. This Adept is going to make sure that this Reaper won't be too annoying. Now, this doesn't feel like a Hellion opening from Clem this game. I don't exactly know. Okay, there is our War Prism, by the way. I'm kind of expecting a quick robotics facility. I'm expecting a quick Prism from MaNa, because I know that's the kind of stuff he likes to do. This is very nice for Clem. It's one of those little feel-good moments as a Terran player. Like, yeah! Didn't take a single shot yet at my Reaper and already got a probe. Not bad.
That's right, and it was the harassing probe, the first probe of MaNa. And yeah, like you mentioned it, we're going to have a very early robotics facility here. MaNa opening Twilight Council first for Tech in his first 2 games, this time changing it up. So we're kind of expecting a Warp Prism here with some Gateway units, trying to put a little bit of harassment on Clem.
Yep.
In true MaNa fashion. Clem's going to go for a Widowmine drop, I think, or even defensive.
Or maybe at least 1 Widowmine and a couple of Marines in 1 medevac, and then keep 1 Widowmine at home in case there is an Oracle. But I don't think Clem is that worried about Oracles when he's going up against MaNa in this matchup. This Reaper has been very annoying. That's an excellent grenade as well. Can Clem pick up another kill?
Oh, nice. The Shade's on the low ground as well, so he's going to have a free space in the main to get a good scout off. Sees everything.
I think against this opening, Clem is going to be a little more
round.
Yeah, but he got 1 more probe, and he got the scout, so I think it's a perfect Reaper. I think Clem is very, very happy with what the Reaper has achieved. I don't know why this Adept has showed up in the main base, but it's here. Maybe Clem let it in and just wants to take it out. There's our War Prism, by the way. Clem doesn't have a medevac, does he?
This Adept is just like, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. Oh, a little bit of repair there, keeping that Mule alive. Mule's not mining, by the way. It's actually sitting on the refinery. A little bit of miss micro there from Clem, but these are oh, no way.
That's kind of funny.
That's, as a Terran, you feel like, all right, you know what? This is personal now.
I still like the opening for Clem, though. If you look at the worker count, he's only down 4 workers, and that's something that most Terran players will absolutely be okay with in this phase in the game. And he also knows about the opening. He already's got the Viking out. Viking is obviously going to be very, very good at keeping this War Prism at bay. It's a liberated follow-up, but I think Clem is maybe going to take this sort of slow and steady and just kind of hope that MaNa gets carried away in aggression while Clem is ready to receive it this time.
I like that he's leaving the Viking at home as well. Like a lot of Terrans, when they go for the Viking first and there is no, and they wait for that Prism, they just send it across the map and go for probe damage. It's a pretty common thing when you go for that Viking early. Observer sees it though, and MaNa's going to have to try and avoid it. Sieges on sieges that Observer.
So MaNa knows that all of the units are at home, and he knows that he's not too much that he's going to be able to get done with his Prism, so he may actually just kind of keep it over here as well. Clem, are you going to move out? I'd be kind of surprised if he moves out with everything here. I feel like this is not the kind of game that he really should be doing this.
MaNa sees it.
I would like to see MaNa make an Immortal now almost immediately, by the way, because I think one Immortal makes your life so much easier. A Liberator is going to show up as well. It's a very interesting push here by Clem.
Actually looks really scary when you think about it. Like, he does have an Immortal here. He's making some Zealots, actually, to try and get that front line, like that meat shield. I like that.
I love the Zealots here, because with a Guardian Shield, a couple of Zealots, they don't need to have charge. As long as you have a Guardian Shield, you're going to be able to do really quite well against these Marines. And if the Immortal can just focus on either the Viking or the tank, you're always going to be okay. At the same time, MaNa's going to be annoying with this War Prism on the other side of the map.
Oh,
I like this.
The tank's not being controlled from Clem. It dies immediately to the Immortal and the Stalkers there. Wow, big blunder from Clem, and he's actually in a lot of trouble. That Guardian Shield making things easy peasy for MaNa. It looks like Clem was looking at home while this Prism was happening as he was going up the ramp. Poor guy.
Did not expect to run into that Protoss army there. I mean, sure, Clem did lose 7 SCVs. Might be able to get a couple probes here. The Liberator's being annoying. Okay, that's
good probe damage.
Wow, he gets more there.
It's a lot. Losing that push does sting. I mean, as it settles, both players are kind of okay. But MaNa looks like he wants to go across the map and try and do even more damage to Clem here.
I mean, he lost the War Prism, though, so I don't think that's the greatest idea, right? Maybe just chase down 1 or 2 Marines.
There's a tank here, or 2 tanks. They're not sieged.
Even though that looked really bad for Clem, and it looked ugly and silly, I actually think this game is still going quite alright, because MaNa only has 2 bases. He doesn't have a War Prism here. He's getting charged, but the Forge upgrades are very late. There's no Robo Bay. If you ignore how bad that attack went, the numbers are actually quite decent for Clem in this game. This is not a bad game for Clem.
Yeah, I mean, down a little bit in workers, but that's early game TVP in a nutshell anyway, and he's also pulled a few of them anyway for this attack that went really badly.
Wow, look at MaNa's gas. Do you think he might go Storm immediately? We might see some Storm drops over here, MaNa. I actually think it would make sense to fire up Storm immediately.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way to spend your gas. Also, maybe even just going for a Charged Archon attack, try and break through the natural, but that would be pretty ballsy. MaNa is that kind of guy. We're not seeing any third yet from Clem here. He's just powering on 2 bases.
I like the quick Storm. Like, there are some moments where I think it's okay to delay Storm, but if you have this much, indeed, just put a couple of High Templars into that War Prism, and we may see some Storm drops. And a Storm drop can obviously put this game upside down. A lot of Terran players will sort of panic a little bit as well if they do get Storm drop. By the way, he knows exactly that this is...
the 5 barracks production on 2 base, that's a big all in there.
I mean, every now and then you still see super late 3rd CC, so I don't want to call it 100%, but there's a good chance that Clem will pull a couple SCVs. Probably feels quite alright about the beginning of the game, but I'd love to see MaNa try to surprise him and drop a Storm, or even drop a Storm when his army is moving out, because that Viking went down, didn't it?
Check the units lost, yeah.
2 Vikings, though. He's still got 2 Vikings.
Yeah, they're still alive, flying around the map.
So you want to be a little bit careful, I think, like dropping the flanking Storms then. Of course, if Clem moves out and he doesn't pay attention, landing 1 Storm in the Marine pack could really make or break this game immediately for MaNa. But even going for some SCVs would already be nice, because that means that those SCVs will not be pulled to the other side of the map.
So Clem's not aware of the fact that MaNa has Storm right now, and Storm is one of the best things, along with Colossi, that Protoss can have against this kind of big attack on 2 base for Terran. And when I say it's all in, of course, you know, you can sort of turn a game out of it if you do a lot of damage to the Protoss. As long as you trade, this can just turn into a regular game, but of course, this is extremely committed, and MaNa knows it. He sees it with the Observer twice, actually.
I would like to see MaNa drop a Storm before the tanks are sieged up, though, right? Because otherwise, it's so likely he's going to end up losing his High Templars almost immediately. Yeah, but I guess he's kind of worried about the Vikings as well. Maybe drop 1 High Templar over here on the left side. All right, MaNa, this is it. You really don't want to wait too long, man, because if the tanks are all sieged up, it doesn't really matter how good your Storms are.
He's going in here with a Warp Prism, and he's got some Archons and some Chargers there on the bottom. Those Storms are incredible. Some bad weather for the boys there. Sons of Marines dying immediately, and these medevacs completely useless in the front line there. Not a whole lot of them to help at all. MaNa cuts the reinforcements in twain, and the Archon doing amazing on the front line. Does get picked off in the end. That medevac is so low. Oh, he doesn't have Blink just yet, so he can't really chase it down. But what is Clem going to do here is between a rock and a hard place and a Protoss.
That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect, MaNa. Right before the Wither Mines were settled, right before the tanks were going to siege up, he landed some massive Storms in the middle of the Marine pack. And Clem obviously scrambling there. I love the little Immortal flank as well, even picking up some of the additional reinforcements. And now Clem's army definitely doesn't look as impressive anymore as it did 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, man, he really took the wind out of that sails. Clem's kind of just going to go for a YOLO drop here and see what he can get done, and I don't blame him for it. He needs to do damage to MaNa because of how well MaNa's traded the last 2 times they fought.
Blink is done, by the way.
This is so risky. Oh, my God.
Blink is done. Charge is done. This is very...
I'm actually getting anxiety watching these dropships head towards the main
Clem is setting up a double drop going towards the 3rd base as well, but these Zealots are absolutely going to keep it safe. No, that's not a drop. Those are 2
Double
Vikings.
Can actually kill a lot of probes here. Oh, the Storm on the Marines and the Marauders. Now, they are actually killing quite a bit of the gateway units here, and they are still killing probes. Are these Vikings doing it at the third base as well? Cannon's going to finish up. Looks like MaNa did all right here. A bit of a probe pull. It does lose 6. And I think this game's going to keep continuing, man.
Okay, MaNa's actually kind of just spreading himself perhaps a little too thin now. Obviously, Clem is doing the right thing. You don't just want to run into those storms. You kind of want to spread your opponent all over the place. That is exactly what MaNa was doing, or at least Clem was trying to do. But Clem, despite doing quite some damage,